Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Why welcome back? This is my first video. So this video is about me doing a PPT recap on the story of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Why? Because a new Freida McFadden movie is coming, which is, surprise surprise, The Housemaid. And if you're wondering why I'm holding a pen and why I'm talking into a pen, so let's get into the video. This is where I have all of the presentation, and I cannot quite figure out how can I show you guys that. So yeah, let's figure this out together. So let's start. Yeah, The Housemaid. Very important, there's going to be spoilers, so if you don't want it, you guys can click off the video. But if you have no problem with spoilers, let's get ahead into it. First and foremost, let's meet the characters. So the first one we have is Sydney Sweeney. Yes, Sydney Sweeney is one of the characters in this movie. She is playing Millie Galloway. So let's talk about Millie. Let's do one thing. I can put the PPT. Yes. So let's talk about it. I should do this. Yeah. So Millie is broke, homeless adjacent, desperate, and she wants a job. Why? Because Millie is a convict. So Millie is basically searching for a So let's start from the beginning. So basically we have Millie Galloway, and she is broke, she is almost homeless, she's living in her car, and she desperately needs a job, which means she's a very easy target for some people out there. So she finds this job advertisement sort of thing where it's asked for a live-in maid for this very extremely affluent family, the Winchester family. So Millie thinks this is a very good opportunity. If she can get this job, she will have some place to live, some income. So she goes for the interview, though she had very low hopes because Millie is an ex-convict, as we talk about, but she goes to the Winchester house anyway. There she meets Nina Winchester. Now Nina Winchester, on the outside, for the first time Millie went and talked to her, she seemed very nice, as most people usually does, and she was kind, friendly. She asked Millie to not call her Mrs. Winchester. So the interview goes well according to her, according to Millie, and then she just hopes that she will get a call back, and she actually does, and then she ends up moving into the Winchester family house. So initially Nina was very kind in the first interview, right? Her impression was that sort of. But then as Millie has worked in the house for a week, she realizes that Nina is anything but that. Nina is Nina has mood swings. She screams. She makes these outrageous allegations on Millie, and then she apologizes for it. But the whole cycle repeats. And in the first week only, Millie realized that working in the Winchester house is going to be tough. Now let's talk about how the Winchester house was and how her living situation was. So Millie got a attic in the house, and if you have seen the trailer, then the attic looks incredible. It is so much better than the hostel I'm living in right now. So the attic was incredible, and in the trailer, in the movie they're showing a very, white, spacious, full of light attic, but in reality there was actually, I imagine the attic to be much more darker, dingy and smaller, and there was only one window in the attic which was shut, so you cannot actually open it, so there was no proper ventilation. And surprisingly, there were no locks on the inside. You can only lock the attic door from the outside, which is a huge point, and you should remember that. So next we move to the house. Now the house is absolutely amazing given the family is very rich and all. So the house was absolutely amazing, and it has two floors, and Millie had to do a lot of work because Nina likes to make a mess. Millie would clean the house, the entire house, and then she'll go sleep. And the next day, she will wake up, and the house is an absolute mess. So she has to do the whole thing again. Now, let's talk about other characters in the story. So, we have Nina's husband, Andrew Winchester. Now, Andrew is a very perfect guy, he is calm, he's understanding, he's kind, and he does not have mood swings like Nina. He's very protective, he feels sane. So our girl Millie, she was kind of enamored by him because obviously he's handsome, and in the story Nina has kind of let herself go, although in the movie Amanda is amazing. You cannot tell me that it is a woman who has let herself go and who is like at least 10-15 years older than Millie. Because, I mean, obviously, there is an age gap between Sydney and Amanda, but you cannot see it in the movie. So I just think. But in the story, it's mentioned a couple of times that Nina has let herself go, and yeah, she's just a little not what society would expect you to look like. So yeah, but Andrew is a perfect husband. He's loving, caring towards his wife, and he takes care of her. So let's talk about how a normal day in the Winchester house looks like. So Millie gets up, she cleans the house, she gets blamed for some outrageous thing that she has not done, and then she gets apologized to by Nina, obviously, and then it happens all over again. Let me give you some instances. So this one time, it was actually the first week of when Millie moved into the house, and also please forgive me for the sounds, I cannot do anything about it. So this time Nina was having this PTA meeting for her daughter's something, these rich people thing, I don't know about. She's something in that PTA, whatever it is, I don't know. I do not remember. I don't want to remember. So anyway, so she has created this whole presentation, notes, whatever, and Millie wakes up and she sees Nina going ballistic in the hall, in the kitchen, asking asking Millie where are all her PTA notes at. And Millie is confused because she does not have any idea what Nina is talking about, and Nina accuses her of throwing her PTA notes away. And Millie is like, "Why?" And Millie is like, "Why would you keep something so important on a kitchen counter? And I will never throw away something like this." But because Nina was so adamant on the fact that the notes were in the kitchen, that she also sorts of getting confused, but that Mary also starts sort of getting confused that maybe she is right, maybe it was there, maybe I threw it. And yeah, it was a whole episode. Then another time, Nina asks Millie to pick up her daughter Cecilia. We'll talk about that girl later. She asks Millie to pick her up, and then she goes as she has asked. And Cecilia is like, why are you here? I don't want you. My friend's mom is supposed to pick me up because I had to go to the gazillion practices that I do. So yeah, you're not supposed to pick me up. And Millie's like, no, 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 Nina asked me to pick me up, but Cecilia is like, no, you're crazy. And then the mother of the friend calls Nina, and she's like, did you send someone to pick your daughter up? And Nina is like, no, I did not. So yeah, so Millie was going through it, and if you ask me personally, I would have quit. No amount of money, but then again, she was very desperate because she was living in her car, and now she has like proper meals, and she gets money, and she has a place to live, and like she can sleep comfortably. So I understand Millie, but still, bro, you should go away. You should literally quit. I would have, because the psychological torture she's going through is a lot. So let's talk about Cecilia now. So Cecilia Winchester, she is not as present in the book, like she does not really have a lot of role to play, but I want to talk about her because oh my god, this girl is a menace. Okay, the way my blood boiled whenever she was, because all of the things she was doing, like the thing, the mother is here, okay, but the mother is old, you like, you know, you and so Cecilia was spoiled according to Millie, but she did not like Millie, obviously by her behavior you can tell, but she was good with her mother. And later on, when things were revealed, I sort of, no, I was kind of really sympathizing with Cecilia as well, because after all, she's a child. But before that, before any of the things were revealed, I was like, get this child out of here, she's a devil's spawn. Okay, next we have Enzo, a cute little gardener, not cute little, but you know, gardener. So he's very hot. Enzo is hot, and all the ladies in the neighborhood are, you know, they go to the Winchester house. Whenever they are there, they go and just look at him because he's so hot when he's gardening and stuff. So yeah, Enzo is hot, and he also did not have much of a role in the first, second, like the first, in the 2/3 of the book. His role is there in the last third book of part of the book, but in the first 2/3 parts he's not really present. Though when Millie first joined the job, and also consecutively some other times as well, he did warn her in Italian to like go away. He was like, this place is danger, you should like just get out. So now let's talk about how the events unfold. So Nina is obviously going ballistic and crazy as usual throughout the entire book, and Millie is just handling it and, you know, doing it because she wants the money, she has no other option. And Andrew is, you know, he has been a sweetheart to Millie. She's like developing this crush on her employer, which you should never do that. Don't do that. You're not YN. You're not YN. Don't develop a crush on your boss. Don't. So Millie starts falling in love with Andrew, and you don't know about Andrew, he is also falling in love with Millie. So yeah, the fire is from both the sides, and Nina sees it, and she's like, she's going full jealous wife now. She's like, stay away from my husband and blah 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 blah. So some blunder happens, and Nina is like not okay with it, and then Andrew decides that he'll surprise his wife with something, not surprise, but he'll, like, they will go away for a weekend, this weekend getaway trip. So I think it was opera, I don't remember. Don't expect me to remember things, I'm just giving a recap. Yeah, you guys are my friend, right? Anyways, so after that they book a trip, but then Cecilia is going on this summer camp something, she's going away, and Nina is like, oh no, I have to drop her and stuff like that. So she's like, I cannot go, and Andrew is like, oh my god. And then obviously she again blames Millie, and she was like, I asked you to book the tickets for the next weekend, not this weekend. But Millie is like, no, I confirmed, he said, whatever. So Andrew is like, oh, it's fine, I'll just return the tickets. He cannot return the tickets because he cannot. So then what happens is, Nina goes to drop her daughter to the camp. So it's only Millie and Andrew in the house, and you know what that means, right? What's going to happen, you guys know what it means. So what happens now? Andrew is like, I was not able to sell the tickets, and Millie's like, oh my god, you can cut it from a paycheck and whatever. And Andrew is like, no, it's like, I'm giving you this, go with someone, watch this. And she's like, I don't have friends. So he was like, I can come with you. And I'm like, sure, I know where this is going, I have read enough books to know that. So now one thing, let me tell you. So prior in the book, Nina had given Millie her clothes. All the clothes she wasn't able to fit into, and these were all white clothes because Andrew likes white clothes. Apparently, like, white is his favorite color. So yeah, so she gives Nina all of her clothes, and then Millie is like, she wears one of those dresses, very nice, she's looking very pretty. And then she and Andrew they go to the, I think it was an opera, I don't know. They go there, they listen to it, and then they go back to the hotel, and then they do what you think they did. And then things quickly escalate from there, and that's when I actually started enjoying the book, because before that it was just one torture on Millie after another, and Nina going ballistic, and we did not have any explanation as to why that was happening. And yeah, but the people in the town, they were like, Nina is crazy and she went to a mental ward or something, like she was booked into a facility for some time, and we will get into that. She was taking a lot of medicines, Millie discovered that, but we will get into that too. So next what happens is that they come back home, and now they're like, they all have to hide it, what they did, because obviously Nina is crazy, Nina will find out, and Nina will go absolutely batshit on them. So they do what anyone who has done these types of thing will do. They try to act normal, like nothing has happened, it will not happen again. I don't know about that. Anyways, but Nina discovers, because Nina actually gifted Millie a phone the first week she started working in the house, like a new iPhone, and she was like, this is a gift here. But it actually had a tracking device, a tracking like app or something on it. So Nina technically knew where they were, and she knew what happened. So yeah, and then Nina again starts making all of these accusations on Millie, that, oh my god, you stole all my clothes. So Millie was like, you stole all of my clothes, and Millie is like, no bro, I did not. And Millie and oh my god, these names. And Nina is like, you are a liar. And then Andrew comes and he's like, shut up, Nina, you are going crazy. And then he kicks her out of the house. Now here's the fun part. And after this, it's like the plot twist of this book. So let's get into the plot twist, let's get into it. So now we get the flashbacks of the events leading up to the present day. So Nina is kicked out of the house, and everything is now in Nina's perspective. So Nina is kicked out of the house and she's living in a hotel, and she recounts of what happened. So basically, prior to when they were married, I guess 7 8 years ago, Nina was working as a something in a company. She was an assistant, I guess, and Andrew was one of the clients of her boss. So she thought Andrew is like very hot and stuff, because obviously, and Nina was pregnant, not with Andrew's child, with someone else's child, and that guy had bailed on her because I think it was a one night or something. I don't remember, don't ask me. So Nina was like, I have to do this job and like be as diligent I can, because I need to earn money for me and also my coming child now. And Andrew started showing interest in her, and she was like, this is not real, because what do you mean a cute guy is showing interest in me? But then he asks her on a date, and they start dating, and then they get married. So they get married quickly. And here I would like to talk about Andrew's mom, because Andrew's mom took care of Nina's child, Cecilia. So yeah, Cecilia is at so if you were thinking that she is Andrew's child as well, no, Cecilia is Andrew's stepdaughter only, and she is Nina's biological child. So now they are married and they are in the house, and here's the unhinged part. Here's when things get interesting and fun. Not fun because obviously, but here's when things get interesting. So Andrew notices that Nina's roots are showing, which means she hasn't gotten done her roots or whatever. And Nina was like, oh yeah, I was just busy, I'll take care of it, and blah 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 blah. And Andrew was like, sure. And then he asked Nina for some help in the attic, the room where Millie is staying. Okay, okay. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you something, right? So when Andrew kicked Nina out of the house, after that Millie was like, now it's my turn to be the owner of the house. Yay, he's in love with me, blah blah blah. And then they do it again in Millie's in Millie's attic room. And then when Millie wakes up, she finds that she's alone in the room and it is locked from outside. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm so sorry. So it is locked from outside. And then we get to Nina's part. So now Nina is telling her story. So now she's married, her roots are showing. Her husband asked, oh wait, come with me to the attic, I have to get something. And Nina was like, sure. And then she enters into the attic, and suddenly, guess what happens? The door closes. Yes, the door of the attic closes, and Nina is locked inside. And she's like, maybe her husband forgot. And obviously you cannot lock the door from inside, you cannot do anything, the lock is on the outside. So yeah. And also one more thing, I just remembered that Nina gave Millie a copy of the key to the attic, because Millie was like, I don't like the fact that it can only be locked from outside, can I get the key? So Nina made her a key, and she was like, yeah sure, here, take it. So after that, what happens, Andrew locks Nina, and she's like, he must have forgotten and things like that. But then he comes back and he's like, I want you to pluck your hair. I want you to pluck 300 strands of your hair, to understand why it is important for you to always look impeccable and not your roots showing. Like, you cannot do that to yourself, you have to look perfect, wife. See this image. So this image. So yeah. So now Nina is like, are you crazy? Let me out. And Andrew is like, no. What part of me asking you to pluck 300 strands of your hair is not understandable to you? What part of it are you not understanding? And Nina was like, bro, are you crazy? Let me out. And Andrew was like, no, I'm not letting you out. So Nina was like, this guy is crazy, but after some time, when he still has not let her out, she does pluck her hair and she gives it to him 300 strands, and he counts it and he's like, no, it's only 299. So now you have to do it all over again. Pluck 300 more strands of your hair. So this time Nina plucks more than 300 strands and then gives it, and he's like, okay, good, now I'm going to let you out. So he unlocks her and she gets out, and she just cannot believe what happened. She cannot. And he gaslights her into believing that what she thought happened did not happen. How you ask how he did that? Let me tell you. So she was like, why did you lock me in the attic? And he was like, oh, it's just to, teach you, darling, that you have to take care of yourself and stuff like that, blah blah blah. And then after some time, Nina finds her daughter Cecilia, who is very young, who's very small, drowning in the bathtub. Okay. And meanwhile, Andrew has called the police, and he's like, I was calling my wife, but she's not picking up, and she is on all of these meds, and I think something might have happened. She's having postpartum depression. I don't know what the reason he made up. And he was like, can you guys go and can you guys check? And the police arrived, and they just find her at the scene, her daughter in the bathtub, and they clearly thinks she's trying to kill her daughter. So she is admitted to a mental ward facility, and she's like, I did not do anything. But then she's on all of these meds, and a psychiatrist is always there to talk to her, which I don't know what they talk to her. But she eventually starts believing that the whole thing that happened in the attic was not real, that it just her mind made it up. So for a while she did believe that whatever is happening, it's not real, and she has imagined it, and she went back. And after a while, when she accepted the fact that she imagined it because she was going crazy, she was discharged from the facility, and she was able to go back to the house. But then he locked her again, and she realizes, oh my fucking, she realizes, I was not crazy. This thing really did happen. So now he's like, you cannot tell people anything because they'll not believe you. How can they believe you? Like a rich, caring husband would do that to her wife? No, they don't. They will not believe you. And if you try to do anything else, your daughter is in danger. So Nina starts enduring everything that Andrew was doing to her for sake of Cecilia. And he was also torturing Cecilia, like sort of. Like Cecilia has mustard allergy, and he used to keep, no, she has peanut allergy. Yeah, she has peanut allergy, and he used to deliberately keep peanut butter like in the front of the pantry, which also Millie accidentally gave. And she asked the same question, that if Cecilia has allergy, why is it here? Why is it so out in the open if she has such a deadly allergy? She did not have a deadly allergy, but yeah, it was, he used to, like add a little bit of peanut butter into Cecilia's food, just a little, to give her, like rashes and itchings, so as to taunt Nina. And it is horrific. And this is the part where I realized that Cecilia is just a child. She's going through this toxic situation where she's scared of her father, for her mother. She doesn't know what will happen. So I can understand why Cecilia acts the way she does. Consider me reformed now. I am a not Cecilia hater, but yeah, I just don't have any malicious feelings towards her anymore. So as the flashback of Nina's part ends, we also get to know something very interesting. Enzo, the gardener, who wants Millie to not work in the house, that it's dangerous. Yes, that Enzo. He is actually in on it with Nina. So Hiring Millie for this job was this whole elaborate plan of Nina's. If she thought if there is someone to replace Nina's position, she can be freed from Andrew. So she looked into Millie when Millie came for the job interview, and she realized obviously that Millie is absolutely gorgeous and that she also has a convict history. So she knew that she was in prison for 10 years. She knew that Millie had been in jail for a long time, and she thought that she is perfect for this role because what she actually wanted was not only Millie to replace Nina but also to kill Andrew. So Enzo, he was okay with a lot of things about, you know, getting Nina out of that house, but he was not really in on the thing of Nina using Millie to replace her and then, doing all of these things because Enzo was like, Nina, Millie is nice, she does not deserve this, and Nina is like, you don't know the whole story, you don't know. She doesn't know the whole story, and so Nina was like, and what was I speaking? So Enzo goes like, no, Millie does not deserve this. She's very nice. And Nina was like, no, 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 you don't know the whole story. She was not telling him what she was. I don't think. So I think she told him, or I think she did not tell him. But it is revealed that Nina knew what Millie did. So Millie basically murdered someone in her boarding school, and because that guy was basically like forcing himself on to her friend. So Nina was like, she's perfect, she's going to kill my husband, she's going to get rid of him forever for us. Nice thinking. So now let's go back to what's happening to Millie. So Millie is locked in the attic room and she's banging on the door and she's thinking, oh, he must have gone, he just accidentally locked it, and he must be sleeping in his room because obviously her bed is too small for him to be sleeping. And she was like, he will come back when he wakes up, and he does come back when he wakes up, but he's like, you were like looking in the library and you took out the books and you did not keep it back, so this is your like punishment. You have to be taught a lesson so you don't litter around anymore. And then he asks her to put three heavy books, like they were extremely heavy, on her stomach. And she's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And he's like, no, I'm not, and I'm not joking, you have to do it. So she did not do it because she was like, I'm not believing this guy. But then when she realizes that he is actually not joking, she has to do what he asked her of. She keeps the book and she keeps it for 3 hours, but then she removes the book and then she asks him, and he's like, no, you did not keep it for 3 hours, you keep it for 2 hours and 59 minutes, so do it again. So she does it again, and these are some sort of like, I just thought these like they're like parallels of how he first did that with Nina as well, when she plucked her hair strands and gave to him, and he was like, no, it's not enough. And then he did the same thing with Millie. So I'm like, oh my god, this guy is psycho. Okay, this guy need medicines. I don't think he needs, no, he don't need medicines. He needs prison. Okay, someone needs to get him to jail ASAP, like today, right now. Okay, and his mother, I don't know, I found his mother quite peculiar from the starting. And yeah, I'll tell you things. So when Nina used to be locked in the attic room, one time she was asked by Andrew to spray this pepper spray into her eyes, and she did that. Okay, so remember this information. So now Andrew is like, so Millie again keeps the books on her stomach for 3 more hours, and then when she's finally done, she does it more longer than 3 hours this time, to just make sure that this bee is not going to f me over again. So she does that, and then he opens the door, and she's like not able to stand, she's sitting, and he just tells her. So she asked, how do you know that I did keep it, how did you know how long I kept it or not? And then he shows her that he's recording, that he has some sort of camera in the room, and he's seeing everything. And then she goes up to him, and then she takes out the pepper spray that Nina had kept in the attic after all that time for Millie, and she sprays that pepper spray into Andrew's house. She pushes him, runs outside, and using the spare key, the copy of the attic key that Nina had given her, yes, you remember, right? She locks the attic. So now, finally, perpetrator is the victim. So now Andrew is like, Millie, this is not a joke, like just get me out. And Millie is like, ach. And Millie is like, sure, I'll get you out. But first, you have to pick those 3 books and keep it on your, you if you're, yeah, you're thinking correct. You're thinking correct. You're thinking exactly what I'm thinking. Yes, you're thinking correct. Yes, exactly. There. Yeah. And he's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And she's like, no, I'm not. Do that, bro, do that. So Millie like locks him, and she's like, do that. And she also has his phone. Yeah, she took his phone while she was running out of that room, so she can see him. And she's like, do that, I can see you. And then he does it, and then she's like, no, you did it only for 2 hours and 59 minutes, so do it again. And he's like, are you crazy? And she's like, no, too many times I've said crazy, but that's the only way to describe this whole thing. So she's like, no, do it again. And she does it again. He does it again. And then Millie goes, she's like in the house, and she's finally recovering from whatever happened in the room, and she's like, oh my god. And now she's thinking about all of these things. She's thinking, maybe Nina tricked her into it. What's happening? Did Nina know about this? Like, what's up? Andrew is like, please let me out. Okay, I got it, it was a mistake and whatever. But then she slides a toolbox into the, or was the toolbox always present in the room? I don't know. But then she asks him, take the something from the toolbox and pull your tooth out. She asks him to pull his tooth out. Yes. And I was like, girl, you are as unhinged as him. Everyone is unhinged. Everyone, oh my god. But I was like, yes, you go, girl. But because at that moment I was so frustrated with this Andrew guy, I was like, yes, girl, you go and tell him to do that. And he did that. So now we get Nina's perspective, and Nina and Enzo are together, and Enzo is like, I haven't seen Millie in like 2-3 days, a week. And Nina is like, oh, they must be out. Enzo is like, no, I don't have a good feeling about it. Their cars are in the house, none of they're not gone, they're here. And then Nina is like, I don't care. But Enzo is like, you have to go and save Millie. So in the end, Nina does end up going to the house, and she goes and she sees that it's very eerily quiet, and then she like walks up to the attic, and she sees it's closed. So she opens it, and boom, what do you think she finds? She finds Andrew's dead body in the attic. Andrew's dead body in the attic. He died from dehydration because he was the one who only used to keep 3 small bottles of water, and Millie has already drank from 2 or maybe from all of them, so there were no water, and obviously Millie is not stupid enough to open the door to give him that. So yeah, so he died from dehydration, but it was blood, and a lot of his teeth were pulled out. And then they Millie arrives and she's like, oh my god, he's dead, whatever. Then so basically Nina asks Millie to go, and she's like, you go, I'll say something that I locked him. He was accidentally locked. I had no idea. I thought he was gone, and yeah, I'll take the blame. So Nina does one last good thing. She asked Millie to go because obviously she knew that if Millie is caught here, she is going to go to prison again because she was on parole. She was already convicted of murder earlier, so it was not easy for police to convict her again for this. Sorry, so it was not difficult for police to convict her of this again. So the police arrives and they ask Nina questions, and Nina is like, I have no idea what's happened. He's just dead. I thought he's not at home. But he was apparently. And then she told she has given Millie a week off, so no one was there. Enzo was not there because Andrew had kicked him. Andrew had fired him prior. So the main chief policeman who was there at who was there for the crime scene, he walks up to Nina and he tells her, you know, my daughter was engaged to Andrew. So basically Andrew was engaged to someone else before he married Nina, and he was like, yeah, but so he tells Nina that yeah, my daughter was engaged to this guy, and I don't know what happened, but something terrible happened because she never spoke about it again, and then she like changed countries. So he was like, we're just going to tell the story of how the guy got locked and the wife thought he's out, and then he died of dehydration. So basically police helped Nina cover this up, and then if Nina 100% thought she's going to go jail, and then she realized she's not going to go to jail, so she was very relieved that she's not going to go to jail. So during Andrew's funeral, everything was how you will expect it. People were talking about what kind of man he was, blah blah blah, but then Andrew's mother shows up, and then she talks to Nina and she's like, I got to know from the police station whatever that he had few of his teeth missing. And then this lady says something which I still think about. So she says that good thing you taught him a lesson, something. So I'm not quoting what she said, although I can quote, but I'm not quoting. I'm just going to tell you in like a loose form what she was trying to say. Was that when he was younger, I tried to tell him that you have to take good care of your dental hygiene, and he did not, and look what happened. Good thing you taught him a lesson. And this made me somewhat this made me think that whatever Andrew did, all of these punishments for the small things which you would think no one should get punished for, I think Andrew's mother used to do that to him, and that's what he learned, and that's what he did to these other women. So yeah, so I think Andrew's mother also had a role in how his son grew up and how he treated the later women in his life. So in the end part of the chapters, we get to know that Nina has moved away. She's living with her daughter. Enzo did not. She asked Enzo to come with him, but Enzo refused, even though like they had one fling, a sort of fling. Not, you cannot call it fling. They did it one time, and Enzo kind of had a crush on Nina, but obviously Nina is not going to jump into a relationship, though she did ask Enzo to come with her, but Enzo was like I'm fine here, and he did not join her there. And he was in touch with Millie goes to this new house which where Nina recommended her, and it is basically revealed at the end of the chapter that her killing Andrew is not going to be a one-off thing. She is going to go on to having this sort of reputation in the rich family, that if you are a damsel in distress wife who needs to get rid of her husband, you know who to call, you know who to contact: Millie Calloway. And that's how the book ends. So yeah, tell me if you like the story. It was pretty interesting, it was pretty fascinating, and I enjoyed reading it. I do like a lot of thrillers. I do like thrillers. I have read a lot of thrillers. So if you want an unhinged PPT summary of any other so if you want unhinged PPT recap of any other book, tell me in the comments. And yeah, and I'm open to criticism. Please be nice though. I'm a college student, by the way, so I don't have the mental capacity to, go through hate right now. I'm already on the verge of ending it all. So yeah, so please be nice. If you, even if you're criticizing me, obviously this is my first time. I do love telling stories, but I tell it to people around me. If I was not narrating this story to the camera today, I would have been narrating this to my best friend. Yeah, she listens to all my stories, and yeah, this is how I tell her, and this is how I'm telling you guys. So you guys are my best friend or what? Yeah. So tell me if you want me to do this type of video for another novel, another story. I i read books, I read webtoons, I watch movies, series, so you can recommend me anything and I can watch it for you guys and then give a recap to you guys. So yeah, that's it. I will see you in my next one. Bye.